there is a field around you right now that nothing unwanted can cross without your permission. Not a metaphor, not a spiritual concept borrowed from ancient tradition and left unexamined. A measurable, electromagnetic, quantum coherent field generated by your own heart, your own nervous system, your own living biology, extending several feet beyond the boundary of your skin in every direction. And when that field reaches a specific threshold of coherence, something extraordinary happens at the quantum level. The things that were meant to drain you, diminish you, destabilize you, they stop reaching you. They arrive at the edge of your field, and they cannot complete the crossing. This is what untouchable actually means. Not invulnerable in the brittle sense of armor that has to be maintained by force. Untouchable in the sense of a frequency so clear, so coherent, so precisely itself, that disruption cannot find a matching signal inside it to latch onto. When there is nothing in your field for chaos to resonate with, chaos moves around you. When there is nothing in your broadcast for depletion to recognize, depletion finds no door. You have probably felt this before without having language for it. A day when nothing seemed to stick to you. When someone who usually pulls you into their orbit tried and simply couldn't. When you walked into a situation that should have rattled you and found yourself standing in a kind of interior stillness that surprised even you. That was not luck. That was not mood. That was your field at a specific level of coherence that made you, in the most literal electromagnetic sense of the word, untouchable. Today, we are going to go all the way into what that means. We are going to look at the precise mechanics of what your field is doing when it reaches that state. Why the quantum halo is not poetic language, but an accurate description of a measurable phenomenon. What causes your field to reach coherence, and what causes it to collapse back into vulnerability, and how to understand the difference between the protection that comes from armoring yourself against the world and the protection that comes from becoming so fully yourself that incoherence cannot find a foothold. Because here is what most people never learn about protection. The kind that comes from tension, from vigilance, from keeping your guard up. That kind costs you. It costs you energy. It costs you openness. It costs you the very frequency that makes your field powerful. And the kind of protection that comes from coherence, from being fully, clearly, consciously yourself at the level of your electromagnetic signal, that kind does not cost you anything. It is a byproduct of your own luminosity. It is what happens when you stop dimming. Your quantum halo is not something you build. It is something you reveal, and the universe has been waiting for you to see it. Let's begin with what your field actually is, because this is the foundation everything else rests on, and it needs to be understood precisely before we can talk about what happens when it becomes untouchable. Your heart is not simply a pump. The medical model has been catching up to something that energy researchers began measuring decades ago, which is that your heart is the most powerful electromagnetic generator in your body, not the brain. The heart. The electrical field generated by your heart is approximately 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical field generated by your brain. The magnetic field of the heart is measurable several feet from the body in every direction. This is not theoretical. The HeartMath Institute has been measuring this field since the early 1990s, using magnetometers sensitive enough to detect it at distances ranging from 3 to 8 feet from the body, and in some individuals, considerably farther. This field is not static. It is constantly broadcasting. Every beat of your heart sends an electromagnetic pulse outward into the space around you. And that pulse carries information. Specifically, it carries the pattern of your heart's rhythm, which is itself a direct reflection of your emotional and neurological state. When you are in a state of fear, anxiety, anger, or chronic stress, your heart rate variability, the natural variation in the time between heartbeats, becomes irregular. The electromagnetic pulse your heart sends outward carries that irregularity encoded in its waveform. When you are in a state of appreciation, love, calm, or what researchers call coherence, your heart rate variability becomes smooth and ordered. The electromagnetic pulse your heart sends outward carries that order. This is the signal. This is what your field is broadcasting to everyone and everything in your environment, including the quantum field itself. Now here is where we need to talk about what the quantum field actually is, because this word gets used loosely and it deserves precision. At the subatomic level, particles do not exist in fixed states until they are observed or interact with other particles. They exist in superposition, meaning in multiple possible states simultaneously. The act of interaction, of resonance, of one field meeting another, is what collapses those possibilities into specific outcomes. The quantum field is the underlying field of probability from which specific physical events emerge. It is not a mystical realm separate from ordinary reality. It is the substrate of ordinary reality. Everything that happens at the visible, tangible scale of your daily life has its roots in quantum-level interactions between fields. When your heart generates a coherent electromagnetic field, that field is interacting with this substrate. It is not sending a message to some distant cosmic intelligence. It is directly influencing the probability landscape of the quantum field in your immediate environment. Coherent fields bias the quantum probability toward outcomes that match their frequency. This is resonance operating at the most fundamental level of physical reality. This is what your quantum halo is. It is your heart's coherent electromagnetic field operating as a probability-shaping instrument in the quantum substrate of your immediate reality. And when it reaches a specific threshold of coherence, it becomes, in the most precise sense of the term, untouchable. Not because it has become impenetrable, but because the things that would disturb it cannot find a resonant frequency inside it to amplify. Before we go further into the mechanics, I want to pause here and make something concrete for you. Because the phrase coherence threshold is doing a lot of work, and it deserves more than a passing mention. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute developed a metric called the coherence ratio, which is derived from the power spectral density of heart rate variability data. In plain terms, they looked at how much of your heart's rhythmic variation was concentrated in the low frequency band around 0.1 hertz, which is the specific frequency associated with the synchronized oscillation of your cardiovascular, respiratory, and nervous systems working together as a unified whole. When that synchronization is high, your coherence ratio is high. When your systems are fighting each other, when your breathing is shallow and your stress hormones are elevated and your attention is scattered across half a dozen anxieties, your coherence ratio drops. What is significant for our purposes is what happens at the high end of that ratio. When coherence is sustained above a certain threshold, the effects on the body are not just psychological. Immune markers improve. Inflammatory cytokine levels drop. Cortisol and DHEA, which is a hormone associated with vitality and resilience, come into a more favorable balance. The nervous system shifts from sympathetic dominance, the fight or flight state, toward parasympathetic activation, the state in which your body repairs, integrates, and regenerates. and the electromagnetic field your heart is broadcasting becomes more ordered, more powerful in its amplitude, and more capable of the entrainment effects we are going to talk about in depth. This is the threshold we mean when we say your field becomes untouchable. It is not a spiritual threshold. It is a physiological one, and it has a measurable signature. The extraordinary thing is that reaching it does not require extraordinary circumstances. It requires a specific quality of inner state, and that quality is something you can cultivate deliberately. If this is landing for you, here is something I want to offer you to take this deeper. Have you spent years trying to feel lit up again? Visualizations, affirmations, vibration work, and the light still won't hold? Every one of those methods is telling you to push harder, do more, add another technique. It's not working because the issue isn't that you don't have enough light. 6 specific patterns are sitting on top of it. They're called the frequencies of forgetting. The remembering field, a quantum guide to returning to the light. You forgot you were carrying walks through all 5 parts of getting those patterns off you. Every tool you used tried to add more light. This one lifts what's been sitting on the light you already carry. The longer you wait, the harder they get to clear. So go open it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now back to the mechanics of what makes your field truly untouchable. Let me explain exactly what that means, because this is the mechanism most people never hear about. Electromagnetic fields interact through resonance. When 2 fields of similar frequency encounter each other, they amplify. When 2 fields of dissimilar frequency encounter each other, they interfere. Interference can be constructive, meaning the fields add together, or destructive, meaning they cancel each other out. In the context of your personal energy field, this means that what reaches you, what actually gets through to affect your nervous system, your emotional state, your decision-making, your sense of reality, is determined by whether it finds a resonant frequency in your own field. A chaotic, incoherent field, one generated by someone who is broadcasting fear, manipulation, aggression, or depletion, can only affect your field if your field contains a matching frequency for it to latch onto. If your field is broadcasting at a high coherence frequency, a frequency of clarity, presence, and self-possession, then the incoming chaotic signal finds no resonant partner inside your field. It does not amplify. It does not penetrate. It encounters your field, fails to find a match, and moves around you. This is not immunity in the sense of being untouched by life. You can still perceive what is happening around you. You can still feel the weight of difficult situations. You can still be moved by what is real. but you are not destabilized by it. You are not pulled into resonance with it. You remain yourself, broadcasting your own signal, while the chaos resolves itself at your field's edge. That is the quantum halo. That is the untouchable state. And the universe has not randomly assigned this state to some people and withheld it from others. It is available to every person who can reach and sustain a coherent field. The question is always, what is preventing coherence? Because the default state of your field, the state it naturally reaches when nothing is suppressing it, is coherence. You are not trying to achieve something foreign to your nature. You are removing what has been imposed on it. If this is resonating with you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper into this work together. Now let me show you something about your field that most people never examine, which is what happens to your coherence in the specific moments before you walk into something difficult. There is a phenomenon that HeartMath researchers call field entrainment. When two people are in physical proximity, their electromagnetic fields are interacting. The more powerful field, the one with greater coherence and amplitude, tends to entrain the weaker field toward its own frequency. This happens without words, without eye contact, without any deliberate intention. It is a direct field-to-field interaction, and it is measurable. What this means for you is that you are not neutral when you walk into a room. You are not a blank slate waiting to be affected by whatever energy is present. You are broadcasting. Your field is already interacting with the fields in that room before you cross the threshold. And the question is not whether you will affect the environment. The question is whether your field is coherent enough to entrain the room toward your frequency, or incoherent enough to be entrained by the room's frequency. This is why some people walk into a tense situation and the tension eases, not because they said the right thing or performed the right behavior, but because their field, broadcasting at high coherence, began entraining the fields around them before a single word was spoken. And this is why other people walk into the same tense situation and somehow make it more tense, not through anything they do, but through the incoherent signal their own field is broadcasting, which amplifies the existing incoherence in the room. You have been on both sides of this. You know what it feels like to walk into a room and feel the energy shift toward you. Feel people settle. Feel the quality of the space change. And you know what it feels like to walk into a room already braced, already contracted, already broadcasting the frequency of someone who is not sure they are safe, and feel the room's difficulty amplify around you. The difference between those two experiences is not circumstance. It is the coherence of your field in the moment you cross the threshold. Here is what your field is doing in the 60 seconds before you walk into something you are dreading. And this is specific because it matters enormously. When you anticipate a difficult situation, your nervous system begins preparing for it. This is biological. It is not a failure of mind or spirit. Your heart rate variability begins to shift. Your cortisol begins to rise. Your electromagnetic field begins to carry the frequency of the anticipated difficulty before you have even arrived. And here is the part that changes everything when you understand it. The quantum field in the environment you are about to enter is already receiving your signal. You are pre-broadcasting the frequency of your fear or your contraction, and that broadcast is shaping the probability landscape of the room before you enter it. This is why walking in braced tends to confirm the thing you were braced for. Not because your premonition was accurate, but because your pre-broadcast helped assemble the outcome it was anticipating. The quantum field responds to your signal. It does not evaluate whether your signal is based on accurate information. It responds to the frequency you are actually broadcasting. A conscious broadcaster understands this. A conscious broadcaster, someone who has learned to work with their own field deliberately, knows that the 60 seconds before they cross a difficult threshold are among the most important 60 seconds of their day. Not for rehearsing what to say, not for steeling themselves, for bringing their field into coherence before they arrive, so that what they bring into the room is a signal of clarity and self-possession. And the quantum field begins assembling around that signal instead. This is a practice, and we will come to it in depth. But first, let me tell you about Mara. Mara had spent most of her adult life being what she called resilient. She had learned early that the world was unpredictable and sometimes harsh. And she had developed a very specific strategy for surviving it, which was to make herself small enough not to be targeted. She kept her opinions measured. She kept her enthusiasm private. She kept her light, as she understood it, turned down to a level that felt safe. She was pleasant. She was functional. She was, by most external measures, fine. But she was exhausted in a way she could not explain, because the energy required to keep herself dimmed was enormous, and she had been spending it for so long, she had forgotten it was a cost. The thing about Mara's strategy was that it had never actually worked. She had made herself small, but the difficult things had kept finding her anyway. The draining relationships, the situations that seemed to pull the ground out from under her, the sense that she was somehow always in the path of disruption, even though she had done everything she could think of to avoid it. She had interpreted this as evidence that the world was simply like this, that some people were built for difficulty, and she was one of them. What Mara did not know was that her dimmed field was not protecting her. It was attracting the very thing she was trying to avoid. Here is why. When your field is contracted, when you are broadcasting at a low coherence frequency, because you are spending your energy on self-suppression, your electromagnetic signal carries the frequency of that suppression. And that frequency, at the quantum level, is indistinguishable from the frequency of someone who expects to be diminished. The quantum field does not know that you are trying to protect yourself by making yourself small. It reads your signal as it is, not as you intend it. And the signal of contraction resonates with the signal of incoming contraction. What you are trying to keep away finds resonance in the very strategy you are using to keep it away. Mara encountered this understanding not as a spiritual teaching, but as a physical experience. She was in a situation that had become genuinely unbearable. A professional environment where one particular person seemed to have an inexplicable ability to unsettle her, to find the exact frequency of her self-doubt and amplify it. She had tried every strategy she knew. She had been more careful. She had been more prepared. She had been more measured. Nothing worked. This person's energy found her every time. And then one morning, for reasons she could not entirely explain, she stopped preparing. She stopped bracing. She stopped running the internal rehearsal of how to survive the encounter. She was tired, and she was done. And she walked into the building that morning without her armor, which meant she also walked in without her contraction. She was simply herself, undefended, present, her field broadcasting nothing more complicated than her own actual frequency. The encounter happened. The person said something that on any other day would have found the familiar wound. And Mara noticed, with a kind of quiet astonishment, that it didn't land. Not because she had become harder, because she had become clearer. The signal the other person sent out reached her field and found no matching frequency to amplify. She was not contracted around a wound. She was simply present, broadcasting her own coherent signal, and the disruption moved around her like water around a stone. She did not become invulnerable that day. She became untouchable in the specific sense we are talking about. The things that had always found her stopped finding her, not because she had built a better defense, but because she had stopped broadcasting the frequency that was calling them in. This is the paradox of the quantum halo. The protection it offers is not the protection of armor. It is the protection of coherence. And coherence is not a defense posture. It is the natural state of a field that is fully, clearly, uncompromisingly itself. You cannot become untouchable by trying harder to keep things out. You become untouchable by letting more of yourself in. What happened to Mara in that building has a precise physiological name. Researchers call it a spontaneous coherence shift, a moment when the accumulated pressure of sustained self-suppression reaches a breaking point, and the nervous system, exhausted from the effort of maintaining the contracted state, simply releases it. The heart rate variability pattern changes within seconds. The electromagnetic field reorganizes around the new, unconstricted signal. And the person who walks through the door is, in the measurable sense, broadcasting at a fundamentally different frequency than the one who had been bracing for weeks. What is remarkable about Mara's experience is that she did not choose coherence. She fell into it through exhaustion. But the mechanics operated identically to deliberate coherence practice. The field did not care whether the shift was intentional or accidental. It responded to the actual frequency being broadcast. This tells us something important. The quantum halo is not reserved for people who have mastered a practice. It is available in any moment when the self-suppression lifts, whether through intention, through exhaustion, or through the simple grace of a morning when you forget to be afraid. The practice is what allows you to reach that state without waiting for exhaustion to force it. Have you ever had a moment like Mara's? A day when you stopped bracing and something that usually found you simply didn't? I would love to hear about it in the comments. When did you first notice your own field shifting? When did you feel your energy change the quality of a room? Or feel yourself standing in a stillness that surprised you? Share what you experienced. Now let me take you into the practice, because this is where the understanding becomes something you can actually use in your body, in your field, in the living reality of your day. This practice is called the Threshold Coherence Reset, and it is specifically designed for the moment before you enter something difficult. The 60 seconds we talked about. The pre-broadcast window. This is where the quantum halo becomes a conscious instrument rather than an unconscious one. Find a moment of stillness. If you are listening to this right now, you can practice this as we go through it together, or you can receive it now and bring it to the next threshold you face. Either way, the practice is the same. Bring your attention to your heart center, the physical location in the center of your chest, not as a metaphor, as a physical location. Place your awareness there, and if it feels right, place your hand there as well. The physical contact between your hand and your chest has a measurable effect on your heart rate. Variability. It is not symbolic. It is a direct physiological intervention. Now breathe, but not a deep breath in the sense of forcing air. A slowed breath. Breathe in for a count of 5 and breathe out for a count of 5. The specific rhythm of 5 counts in and 5 counts out, which researchers call heart coherence. Breathing, or resonance frequency breathing, has been shown to synchronize your heart rate variability into a coherent wave pattern within 90 seconds of beginning. This is not a relaxation technique, though it does produce calm. It is a field tuning technique. You are bringing your electromagnetic broadcast into a coherent waveform. The reason this specific rhythm works is not arbitrary. At approximately 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, your breathing rate lands at around 6 breaths per minute. That rate happens to synchronize with the natural oscillation frequency of your baroreflex, the feedback loop your body uses to regulate blood pressure. When your breathing entrains to that frequency, your heart rate begins to oscillate in synchrony with it. And that synchrony is precisely what produces the coherent waveform in your heart rate variability data. You are not imagining a state. You are creating a measurable physiological condition. And that condition changes what your heart broadcasts outward. As you breathe this rhythm, bring to mind a single moment of genuine appreciation. Not a concept, a specific moment. The quality of light through a window at a particular time of day. The feeling of a specific person's presence. A moment when something worked out in a way that surprised you with its rightness. The specificity matters because your heart responds to the felt quality of the experience, not to the idea of it. You are not thinking about appreciation. You are feeling it, even briefly, even lightly. That feeling is the signal. That signal is what your heart begins to broadcast. Hold this for 30 seconds. 60 is better. In this window, your heart rate variability is shifting into coherence. Your electromagnetic field is changing its waveform. The signal you are broadcasting is no longer the anticipation of difficulty. It is the frequency of appreciation and self-possession. Now, before you cross the threshold, before you walk into the room or the conversation or the situation you were dreading, make a single interior declaration. Not a hope, not a request, a declaration. Something like, my field is coherent. I bring my own signal. What is mine reaches me in, and what is not mine moves around me. The words are less important than the quality of certainty behind them. You are not asking for protection. You are stating the condition of your field. This is a conscious broadcast, and it changes what the quantum field receives from you before you arrive. Then walk in. You will notice something. The situation may be exactly as difficult as you anticipated. The other person may say exactly what you feared they would say. The environment may be exactly as charged as you expected. But you will be standing in a different relationship to it. Not because the external reality has changed, because your field arrived before you did, broadcasting coherence, and the quantum probability landscape has already begun assembling around your signal, rather than the one you were broadcasting when you were braced. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is field mechanics operating exactly as they are designed to operate. Your coherent field entrains the space around it. Your clear signal shapes the probability toward outcomes that match your frequency. And the things that cannot find a resonant partner in your coherent field cannot complete their crossing. That is the quantum halo in practice. Now let me take you deeper into the mechanics, because there is a layer of this that most people never reach. And it is the layer that explains something you have probably wondered about for a long time. Why do some people seem to be naturally untouchable? You have met them. The person who moves through difficulty without being marked by it. The one who can sit in a room full of tension and remain somehow clean. The one who has been through genuinely hard things and emerged not hardened, but more luminous. What are they doing that others are not? The answer is not that they have better circumstances or stronger character in the moral sense, or some innate spiritual gift that was distributed unevenly. The answer is that their field has reached what researchers call sustained coherence, which is different from momentary coherence in a way that matters enormously. Momentary coherence is what you achieve in the threshold reset practice. You bring your field into coherence for a specific window of time through deliberate attention and breath. This is powerful, and it works. But sustained coherence is something different. It is a baseline condition of your field, the frequency at which your heart broadcasts when you are not doing anything in particular, when you are just living, moving through your day, being yourself without any special effort. Sustained coherence is built over time through repeated returns to coherence. Every time you bring your field back to a coherent state, you are training your heart's electromagnetic pattern. The heart, like any biological system, responds to repeated input by building structural capacity for it. The more often your heart has been in coherence, the more easily and quickly it returns to coherence when disturbed. Researchers have documented this as an increase in baseline heart rate variability, which is one of the most reliable markers of both physical health and psychological resilience that exists in the scientific literature. But there is something else that builds sustained coherence that is less about practice and more about identity. And this is the part that connects directly to the quantum halo. Sustained coherence is also built by resolving the internal contradictions that force your field to broadcast at cross purposes with itself. Here is what I mean. Your heart's electromagnetic field broadcasts the actual state of your nervous system, not the state you want to be in, not the state you present to the world, but the state you are actually in. When you are carrying a belief that you are not safe, that field carries that frequency even when you are smiling. When you are carrying a conviction that you are not enough, that field broadcasts that frequency even when you are performing confidence. When you are holding a story about yourself that is smaller than what you actually are, your field broadcasts the frequency of that smallness even as your conscious mind is trying to project something larger. This is the source of what I call field fragmentation. Your field is trying to broadcast two signals simultaneously. The signal of who you are presenting yourself as, and the signal of who you actually believe yourself to be at the level of your deepest conditioning. These two signals interfere with each other. The result is a field that is neither fully coherent nor fully incoherent, but fractured, broadcasting a kind of static that the quantum field reads as uncertainty, as internal conflict, as a signal that is not fully committed to itself. and a fractured signal is a vulnerable signal, not because anything external attacks it, but because it is already in conflict with itself. And that conflict creates the resonant openings that incoming disruption can find. The people who are naturally untouchable are not people who have no wounds. They are people whose wounds are not broadcasting. They have done the work, consciously or through accumulated life experience, of resolving the internal contradictions that fragment their field. Their deepest belief about themselves and their broadcast signal are the same thing. They are not performing a frequency. They are emitting it. This is why the path to the quantum halo is always, ultimately, a path toward authenticity. Not authenticity in the casual sense of saying whatever you think. Authenticity in the electromagnetic sense of having your actual inner state and your broadcast signal be the same thing. Of being, at the level of your field, what you are at the level of your deepest truth. When those two things align, your field stops fragmenting. It becomes a single, clear, coherent broadcast. And a single, clear, coherent broadcast is what the quantum halo is made of. Let me show you the specific mechanics of how a fragmented field becomes a coherent one, because this is not a vague process, and it does not require you to resolve every wound you have ever carried before your field can become powerful. There is a concept in heart math research called heart-brain coherence, which is distinct from heart coherence alone. Heart coherence is the ordered, smooth pattern of your heart rate variability. Heart-brain coherence is the synchronization of your heart's electromagnetic signal with your brain's electrical activity, specifically the neural patterns associated with your thinking and your beliefs. When your heart and brain are in coherence with each other, meaning when what you feel and what you think are aligned, your entire nervous system operates as a unified field, rather than as a collection of competing systems. Your autonomic nervous system, which governs your stress and relaxation responses, comes into balance. Your immune system functions more efficiently. Your endocrine system produces hormones consistent with well-being. And your electromagnetic field, generated by this unified system, broadcasts a signal of extraordinary clarity and power. The fragmentation I described earlier is, at the physiological level, a state of heart-brain incoherence. Your heart is feeling one thing, and your brain is thinking another. Your emotional body is broadcasting one frequency, and your cognitive mind is trying to override it with a different one. The result is that your field carries both signals, and they interfere with each other The path to heart-brain coherence is not about controlling your thoughts or suppressing your emotions. It is about creating conditions in which your heart and brain can synchronize, which means allowing your felt experience and your understood experience to meet each other honestly. This is why the most powerful field-strengthening work you can do is not a visualization practice or an affirmation practice, though both have their place. It is the work of honestly examining the beliefs about yourself that are broadcasting in your field without your conscious permission, and bringing them into the light of your actual understanding. Because here is what your understanding knows that your conditioned beliefs do not. Your understanding knows that you are a coherent electromagnetic field of extraordinary power. It knows that your heart generates a signal that reaches several feet in every direction and interacts with the quantum substrate of reality. It knows that you have always been broadcasting, always been opening the probability landscape around you, always been participating in the creation of your experience, even when you did not know it. Your conditioned beliefs, the ones that say you are not enough, not safe, not worthy of the full expression of your light. Those beliefs are not the truth of your field. They are old signals, learned frequencies that were imposed on your broadcast when you were young enough to accept them as your own. They are not you. They are patterns you absorbed from fields that were themselves incoherent, from people who were themselves broadcasting fear and limitation, and whose fields entrained yours before you knew you had a field to protect. The quantum halo is not something you earn by becoming worthy of it. It is what your field naturally becomes when you stop broadcasting frequencies that were never yours. Let me tell you about Eli. Eli was the kind of person who understood things quickly. He had spent years studying energy, consciousness, the science of the heart field, and he could explain any of it with precision and clarity. But his understanding lived entirely in his mind, in his body, in his actual nervous system, in the electromagnetic signal his heart was broadcasting. He was still carrying a very old story about himself, one that said that he was fundamentally alone in a way that could not be changed, that the universe was indifferent to him specifically, that whatever light he had was somehow less than what other people had. He had not chosen this story. It had been handed to him in childhood, in a family where love was conditional and presence was unpredictable, where he had learned very early that his own needs were a disruption, and his own joy was a liability. He had done years of inner work, and he genuinely believed, at the cognitive level, that this story was not true. But his field was still broadcasting it. His heart was still carrying the frequency of that original wound, the frequency of someone who expects to be left, who expects to be overlooked, who expects that the universe will confirm his smallness. And the quantum field was responding to his signal, not to his understanding. Eli kept encountering a specific pattern in his life. Opportunities would arrive and then, at the last moment, dissolve. Connections would form and then, inexplicably, fade. It was as if something in the field around him was consistently assembling the experience of almost, but not quite. As if the quantum probability was consistently landing just short of what he wanted. He brought this to his practice with a new question. Not what am I doing wrong, but what is my field actually broadcasting? Not at the level of my intentions, but at the level of my deepest signal. What he found when he sat with that question honestly was the frequency of preemptive loss. His field was broadcasting the anticipation of things not working out before they had a chance to. His heart was carrying the frequency of someone who had already accepted the outcome before the situation had resolved. And the quantum field was reading that signal and assembling the probability of preemptive loss around it, because that was the coherent signal it was receiving. The shift for Eli was not a dramatic one. It did not happen in a single breakthrough moment. It happened through a practice of catching the moment when his field dropped into the preemptive loss frequency. The moment when he could feel his heart contract around the anticipation of things not working out, and consciously returning his field to a different signal. Not a forced optimism, not a performance of confidence, but a genuine return to the present moment, where the loss had not yet happened, where the probability had not yet collapsed, where his field was still free to broadcast something other than the old story. Over time, the pattern began to change. Not because the universe had decided to treat him differently, because he was broadcasting a different signal, and the quantum field was assembling around that signal instead. The last thing Eli expected was to feel untouchable. He had associated that word with invulnerability, with a kind of hardness he did not want and did not trust. But what he discovered was that the untouchable state was not hard at all. It was extraordinarily soft It was the softness of a field that was so fully present, so fully itself, that it had nothing to defend. When there is nothing in your field broadcasting the frequency of anticipated loss, loss cannot find you through resonance. When there is nothing in your field carrying the frequency of expected diminishment, diminishment has no door. That is the quantum halo. That is what untouchable actually feels like from the inside. Not armored, open, not defended, clear, not protected by walls, protected by the coherence of your own signal. Now, I want to address something that comes up for almost everyone when they begin to understand this, because it is important and it deserves a direct answer. If your field shapes what reaches you, does that mean you are responsible for everything difficult that has happened to you? Does the quantum halo model imply that people who have been hurt deserved it because their field was broadcasting the wrong frequency? No, absolutely not. And here is why this matters at the level of the mechanics themselves. Not just as a moral point. The quantum field does not operate in isolation. You are not the only field in your environment. Every person around you is broadcasting. Every situation is a convergence of multiple fields, multiple signals, multiple probability landscapes interacting simultaneously. What reaches you is not determined solely by your field. It is determined by the intersection of your field with every other field in your vicinity, and by circumstances that exist entirely outside the range of your personal broadcast. Children who are harmed are not harmed because their fields were broadcasting incorrectly. They are harmed because the fields around them were broadcasting harm, and those fields were larger, more powerful, and more persistent than a child's field could counter. People who encounter violence, illness, loss, and injustice are not encountering these things because their quantum halo failed. They are encountering the reality that the world contains incoherent fields of enormous power, and that individual field coherence, while genuinely protective, is not a guarantee against all harm. What the quantum halo offers is not a promise that nothing difficult will ever reach you. It offers a genuine shift in the probability landscape of what finds you, in the quality of your resilience when difficult things do arrive, and in the speed with which your field returns to coherence after it has been disturbed. It offers the protection of resonance, not the protection of absolute immunity. This distinction matters because the moment we turn field mechanics into a blame framework, we have misunderstood what the field actually does. Your field is not a moral report card. It is a living, dynamic, responsive system that can be strengthened and refined. The goal is not to achieve a perfect field that never encounters difficulty. The goal is to become conscious enough of your own broadcast that you stop inadvertently calling in what you do not want, and resilient enough in your coherence that what does arrive cannot permanently destabilize you. That is the real promise of the quantum halo. Not immunity. Resilience. Not invulnerability. Coherence. Not untouchable in the sense of being above the human experience. Untouchable in the sense of being so fully yourself that disruption cannot find a permanent home in your field. There is another layer of the quantum halo that most discussions of personal energy fields never reach. And it is one of the most extraordinary aspects of what your field actually does when it is at full coherence. It does not just protect you. It transforms what it contacts. Remember the principle of electromagnetic entrainment. When two fields of different coherence levels encounter each other, the more coherent field tends to entrain the less coherent one toward its own frequency. This means that your coherent field is not simply neutral toward the incoherence around you. It is actively, passively, without any effort or intention on your part, pulling the fields around it toward greater coherence. This is the phenomenon that explains why some people heal the rooms they walk into, why some presences make people feel more like themselves, why some individuals, simply by being present, seem to raise the quality of every interaction they are part of. This is not charisma in the personality sense. This is field entrainment. Their coherent field is interacting with the fields around them and pulling those fields toward coherence. And here is the extraordinary implication of this. When your field is at the level of the quantum halo, when you are broadcasting at sustained high coherence, you are not just protecting yourself from incoherence. You are actively reducing the incoherence in your environment. You are, by the simple fact of your coherent presence, making the quantum probability landscape around you more ordered, more clear, more aligned with outcomes that serve the well-being of everyone in your field. This is why the quantum halo is not a selfish instrument. It is a fundamentally generous one. The most powerful thing you can do for the people you love, for the environments you inhabit, for the world you are participating in, is to bring your own field to coherence and keep it there. Not because coherence makes you superior, but because a coherent field in an incoherent environment is the most powerful gift that environment can receive. You are not just protecting yourself when you strengthen your quantum halo. You are becoming a coherence anchor for everything your field touches. This changes the motivation for the work. It is no longer just about what you receive or what you are protected from. It is about what you radiate. It is about the quality of the signal you are contributing to the quantum field of every space you enter, every relationship you inhabit, every moment you are present in. When you understand this, the practice of maintaining your field coherence stops feeling like self-protection and starts feeling like service. You are not working on your energy for your own benefit alone. You are working on your energy because your coherent field is a gift to the quantum substrate of reality itself. Have you ever walked into a room and felt your own energy shift the quality of the space? Or been around someone whose field seemed to settle everything around them simply by being present? Tell me about it in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you have noticed about your own radiance and how it moves through the people and places in your life. Let me give you the second practice, because this one works at a different level than the threshold reset. This one is for building the sustained coherence that makes the quantum halo your baseline state, rather than something you have to achieve in moments of crisis. This practice is called the field inventory, and it is done once a day, ideally in the morning before the day's interactions have begun to shape your broadcast. Sit quietly. Bring your awareness to your heart center and take 3 of the coherence breaths we practiced earlier, 5 counts in and 5 counts out, with a felt quality of appreciation as you breathe. Let your field settle into coherence. Now ask yourself, with genuine curiosity rather than judgment, what is my field actually broadcasting right now? Not what do I want it to be broadcasting? Not what do I believe it should be broadcasting? What is the actual felt quality of my electromagnetic signal in this moment? You will feel something. It might be clarity and openness, which is the felt sense of coherence. It might be a low-level anxiety, a background hum of worry or vigilance. It might be the contracted feeling of someone who is braced for something. It might be the flat, muted quality of a field that has been dimmed for so long it has forgotten what full brightness feels like. Whatever you feel, name it. Not to judge it, to know it, because you cannot work with a signal you have not acknowledged. Once you have named the actual state of your field, ask the second question. Where did this frequency come from? Not in the sense of tracing it to a cause you need to analyze, in the sense of recognizing whether this is your frequency or a frequency you absorbed from your environment, from yesterday's interactions, from old conditioning, from someone else's field that entrained yours without your knowing it. Most of what you find in this inventory will not be yours. It will be frequencies you picked up, absorbed, inherited, or had imposed on you. Recognizing this is the first step to releasing it. You do not have to do anything dramatic with what you find. You simply need to recognize that it is not your signal. It is not the frequency of your actual nature. It is something your field has been carrying that does not belong to it. Then, and this is the practice itself, consciously return to your own frequency. Not a frequency you have to construct or perform. The frequency of you, in a moment when you are simply present, not braced, not performing, not carrying someone else's signal, just yourself, breathing, present. Your field broadcasting your own actual light. You will know when you find it. It feels like a kind of quiet aliveness, like the difference between a room with all the windows closed and the same room with one window opened. A quality of clarity and presence that does not require effort to maintain. That is your baseline frequency. That is what your field broadcasts when it is not carrying anything it does not belong to. Hold that frequency for 5 minutes. Just be in it. Breathe in it. Let your heart's electromagnetic field broadcast it outward into the space around you. You are training your nervous system to recognize this as home, as the default state your field returns to, so that when the day's interactions begin to pull your broadcast away from it, you have a clear reference point to return to. Do this every morning for 30 days and observe what changes. Not in dramatic ways necessarily, in the quality of what reaches you, in the interactions that seem to find you, in the situations that seem to resolve themselves around you, in the feeling, which will grow clearer over time, of moving through your day in a field that is yours, broadcasting your own signal, and encountering a reality that is assembling around that signal with increasing clarity. That is the long-term work of the quantum halo. That is how sustained coherence is built. Now let me address the question of what happens when your field is disturbed, because it will be. High coherence is not a permanent state you achieve once and never lose. It is a frequency you learn to return to with increasing speed and ease. The measure of a developed quantum halo is not that it is never disturbed. It is that it recovers faster. When your field is disturbed, when something genuinely difficult reaches you and pulls your broadcast into incoherence, the worst thing you can do is resist the disturbance. Resistance adds energy to the incoherence. It prolongs the fragmentation. The field that fights its own disruption stays disrupted longer than the field that acknowledges the disruption and consciously returns to coherence. This is a counterintuitive principle, and it is worth sitting with. The fastest path back to the quantum halo is not to push away what disturbed it. It is to acknowledge that your field was disturbed, to feel the quality of the disturbance honestly, to recognize it as a temporary deviation from your baseline frequency rather than a permanent state, and then to use the coherence practices you have built to return your field to its natural broadcast. The acknowledgement is not weakness. It is field intelligence. Your field cannot return to coherence while it is pretending the disturbance did not happen. Pretending is its own form of fragmentation. The field that says, "I am fine," when it is not fine, is broadcasting two signals simultaneously, and neither of them is coherent. The field that says, "I was disturbed, and I am returning to myself now," is broadcasting a single, clear signal of self-awareness and self-recovery. And that signal, even in the process of returning to coherence, is more powerful than the signal of a field that is pretending to be something it is not. This is the practice of coherence, recovery, and it is as important as the practice of building coherence in the first place. You will be disturbed. You will be pulled out of your frequency. You will have days when the quantum halo feels like a distant memory, and your field feels like it is broadcasting nothing but noise. On those days, the practice is not to perform radiance. It is to return honestly to the breath, to the heart center, to the felt quality of your own actual frequency, and to begin again. Every return to coherence after a disturbance strengthens the coherence capacity of your field. Every time you find your way back to your own signal after losing it, your heart learns the path home more clearly. This is not a linear process, and it does not feel triumphant in the moment. It feels like ordinary human effort, like the quiet work of choosing again to be yourself. But over time, the returns become faster. The disturbances become shorter. The baseline coherence becomes more stable, and the quantum halo becomes less something you achieve in moments of conscious effort and more something you simply are. The the natural electromagnetic signature of a field that has learned to broadcast itself. There is a third practice I want to give you, because it addresses something neither the threshold reset nor the field inventory fully reaches. This one is for the moments when your field has been disturbed by something that left a residue. When a difficult interaction, or a piece of news, or an encounter with someone else's incoherence has not just temporarily shifted your broadcast, but seems to have deposited a frequency in your field that is not yours and will not simply breathe away. This practice is called the field clearing, and it works at the level of what researchers call emotional imprinting, the phenomenon by which a sufficiently intense or repeated emotional signal becomes encoded in your body's tissues, not just in your memory, but in your actual cellular and electromagnetic patterns. When you have been in extended contact with someone who broadcasts at a frequency of manipulation, depletion, or chronic negativity, your field does not simply return to its baseline the moment you leave their presence. It carries an imprint of their frequency. This is not metaphorical. It is the electromagnetic equivalent of a tuning fork that has been struck by another tuning fork and is still vibrating at the other fork's frequency long after the contact has ended. The field clearing begins the same way as the field inventory. Sit quietly. Bring your awareness to your heart center. Take 3 coherence breaths. But instead of asking what your field is broadcasting, ask this: what in my field right now is not mine? Where do I feel a frequency that has a different texture than my own signal? Something that feels foreign, imposed, or like a residue of someone else's broadcast. You will locate it somewhere in your body. It might be a heaviness in your chest, a tension in your shoulders, a contracted feeling in your stomach, a dull quality somewhere in your field that was not there before the encounter you are clearing. Whatever you find, place your attention on it without trying to change it or push it away. Simply witness it. Your attention itself, when it is the attention of a coherent field, has a dissolving effect on incoherent imprints. You are not fighting the frequency. You are illuminating it. And incoherence cannot maintain itself in the sustained light of coherent attention. As you hold your attention on the imprint, breathe the coherence rhythm, 5 in and 5 out. And with each exhale, allow the imprint to release, not by forcing it out, but by giving it permission to leave. It was never yours. It does not belong in your field. You are not evicting it by force. You are simply withdrawing the unconscious permission that allowed it to stay. Most imprints clear within 5 to 10 minutes of this practice. Some that are older or more deeply encoded take longer, and some require repeated clearing sessions. But the principle is always the same. Coherent attention dissolves incoherent residue. Your field, when it is fully present and fully itself, is self-cleaning. The quantum halo does not accumulate what does not belong to it. It is only when your field is fragmented or contracted that foreign frequencies can take up residence and stay. Do this clearing practice anytime you notice that your field is carrying something that feels like it came from outside you. After a difficult conversation, after time in a depleting environment, after a day when you were pulled repeatedly out of your own frequency. The practice does not take long, and its effects are immediate in most cases. You will feel the difference in your field within minutes, a return to the quality of quiet aliveness that is your baseline signal. Now let me take you to the layer that most people never reach, and it is one of the most important things you can understand about how your field actually operates in the world. Your quantum halo is not just a field around your body. It is a field that extends through time. Let me explain what I mean by this precisely, because it is easy to make this sound more mystical than it is, and the actual mechanics are extraordinary enough without mysticism. The electromagnetic field your heart generates is not just interacting with the space around you in the present moment. It is also interacting with the probability landscape of your immediate future. Here is how. Every decision you make, every action you take, every interaction you initiate begins as a quantum probability before it becomes a physical event. In the moments before you act, before you speak, before you choose, your field is already interacting with the quantum probability of the outcome. The frequency you are broadcasting in those pre-decision moments is shaping the probability landscape of the choice before you make it. This is why the quality of your field in the moments of stillness and reflection, the moments before you decide, matters as much as the quality of your field in the moments of action. The quantum halo is most powerfully at work, not in the dramatic moments of your life, but in the quiet ones. In the moment before you respond to a difficult message, in the moment before you make a significant choice, in the moment before you speak a truth that matters. In those moments, your field is not just preparing you for what comes next. it is participating in the creation of what comes next. The coherent field broadcasts the frequency of the outcome it is aligned with, and the quantum probability begins to assemble around that frequency before the action has even been taken. This is what it means when we say that a conscious broadcast is infinitely more powerful than an unconscious one. Not because consciousness adds magical power to your field, but because a conscious broadcaster knows to bring their field to coherence in the moments that matter most. The pre-decision windows, the threshold moments, the quiet spaces before action, where the quantum probability is still fluid, and your signal has the most influence over how it collapses. The unconscious broadcaster acts from whatever frequency their field happens to be carrying in that moment, which is usually the accumulated frequency of the day's inputs, the morning's anxiety, the previous interaction's residue, the old conditioning that runs beneath every moment without being examined. The conscious broadcaster recognizes those pre-decision windows and uses them to bring their field to coherence before the probability collapses. This is the full power of the quantum halo. Not just protection from what is coming toward you, active participation in shaping what comes toward you, in the quantum probability windows before it arrives. You are not passive in your field. You have never been passive. The question is only whether your participation has been conscious or unconscious, whether you have been shaping probability with your full, coherent signal, or with the fragmented static of unexamined conditioning. The moment you become conscious of your broadcast, the moment you begin to work with your field, deliberately, everything about what reality assembles around you begins to shift. Not because you have gained a power you did not have before, because you have become conscious of a power you have always had and are now, for the first time, using on purpose. That is the quantum halo. That is what the universe has been trying to show you. That is what this transmission has been building toward. Your field is real. It is measurable. It extends several feet beyond your body in every direction. It is broadcasting your actual frequency at every moment. It is interacting with the quantum substrate of reality and shaping the probability landscape of your immediate experience. It has been doing this your entire life, and now you know it. Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with this question genuinely, not as a rhetorical exercise, but as a real inquiry into your own field. What has your field been broadcasting without your permission? Not what have you been thinking or feeling consciously. What has your field been carrying at the level below conscious thought? The level of your deepest beliefs about yourself and the world. The level where the old conditioning runs. The level where the wounds you thought you had healed still sometimes broadcast their frequency. You do not have to have a complete answer to this question. You just have to be willing to ask it honestly. Because the willingness to ask it is itself a coherence practice. It is the act of a conscious broadcaster, someone who is no longer willing to let their field run on autopilot, someone who has decided to know what they are actually radiating and to take responsibility for it. This is not a burden. It is the most liberating thing you can do with your energy. Because the moment you know what your field is broadcasting, you have the power to change it. And the moment you change it, the quantum field around you begins to assemble differently. The things that were finding you through resonance with your old frequency stop finding you. The things that match your new, coherent signal begin to arrive. This is what the universe confirming your quantum halo actually means. It is not a cosmic announcement. It is the lived experience of a field that has reached coherence and begun to encounter a reality that reflects that coherence back. It is the experience of walking into rooms and feeling them shift, of making decisions and finding that the outcomes align with your intentions more consistently than they used to, of encountering difficulties and finding that you are not destabilized by them the way you once were, of feeling in the quiet moments of your day a quality of inner clarity and self-possession that is not dependent on external circumstances. That is the universe confirming your halo, not in words, in the quality of what reaches you and what does not. Before we close, I want to speak to those of you who are carrying something heavy right now. Those of you for whom the idea of a quantum halo feels very far from your current experience. Those of you who are in the middle of something genuinely difficult, whose field has been under sustained pressure, who are not feeling luminous or untouchable, but exhausted and worn. I want you to hear this directly. Your field has not failed. Your light has not gone out. What you are experiencing is not evidence that the quantum halo is not real or not available to you. It is evidence that your field has been under a load. It was not designed to carry alone for longer than it should have had to. The quantum halo is not a reward for having your life together. It is the natural state of your field when it is supported, when it is acknowledged, when it is given the conditions it needs to return to coherence. And those conditions are not complicated. They are breath. They are honesty. They are the willingness to sit with your own field and ask what it is actually carrying and whether that load belongs to you. Your field is still there. Your light is still there. The coherence capacity of your heart has not been damaged by what you have been through. It has been temporarily suppressed by frequencies that were not yours to carry. And the moment you begin to set those frequencies down, your field will return to coherence with a speed that may surprise you. Because coherence is not something you have to build from nothing. It is the natural state of a living electromagnetic field when it is freed from what has been suppressing it. You are not starting from zero. You are returning to what you have always been. If this transmission has touched something in your field, consider returning to it in a moment of morning stillness, when your nervous system is most receptive and your signal is clearest before the day begins, or in the quiet before sleep, when the field naturally softens and integrates. And if you know someone whose light needs reminding, someone who has been dimming themselves or carrying frequencies that were never theirs, share this with them. When you do, something real happens. Their awareness of their own field activates. Your fields come into resonance across the distance, and the collective luminosity grows. Two coherent signals strengthening each other, contributing something genuine to the quantum substrate we all share. Now let me bring this transmission to its close, but not before I give you something to carry into the rest of your day. Your quantum halo is active right now. In this moment, as you receive these words, your heart is generating an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. That field is broadcasting a frequency, and that frequency is interacting with the quantum probability landscape of your immediate reality. The question is no longer whether you have a field. You do. The question is no longer whether your field matters. It does. The question is simply this: what do you want to broadcast? Not what do you want to achieve or acquire or become. What do you want to radiate? What frequency do you want your field to carry as it moves through the world? What signal do you want the quantum substrate of reality to receive from you and assemble around? You have the answer to this. It is not complicated. It is the frequency of you, fully present, fully clear, fully yourself, without the layers of conditioning and absorbed incoherence that have been dimming your signal. It is the frequency of a field that knows what it is and broadcasts that knowing without apology or contraction. That is the quantum halo. That is the untouchable state. That is what the universe has been waiting to confirm in you. Not because you finally earned it, but because you finally stopped dimming it long enough for it to shine. Your field is real. Your light is on. The broadcast is yours to make conscious. And what you radiate, reality assembles around. So radiate. Not because you should, not because it will get you something, but because that is what you are. A living electromagnetic field of extraordinary coherence and power, broadcasting your frequency into the quantum substrate of a reality that is listening. Your quantum halo is active. It has always been active. Now you know what it is, how it works, and how to bring it to its full power. Welcome to your own light. Welcome to the untouchable state. Welcome to the conscious broadcast of everything you actually are.